How's everybody doing out there? I'm Gene, aka Mr. Natural Laguerre. I've been a personal trainer for the past 30 years. I had a career in competitive bodybuilding for 25 years, winning 23 championships, 2 national titles, and doing it all as a lifetime drug-free champion. Today's lesson, I'd like to discuss the bench press. All right, that's like the king of the hill when it comes to pushing exercises, building the upper body, building upper body strength, so everybody wants to have an impressive bench, but more importantly, I think most people would like to develop a really good chest. So we're gonna go and break down the proper way of doing the bench press. The person doing the demonstrations today is not gonna be me, but it's gonna be my son. This is my son, John Laguerre Jr., better known as the Last Barbender on Instagram. He's a competitive weightlifter and a competitive powerlifter, and he's ranked nationally in both categories. So the bench press is not a foreign movement to him, so he's gonna show you the proper way of bench pressing. Before I explain to you about the right way of doing the bench press, I want to go over the common mistakes that happen in the bench. A lot of times what most people don't understand is that as soon as you unrack the bar, the first thing that happens is the delts must stabilize the bar. Now, someone with very weak shoulders, you're going to notice that the bar may have a tendency to rock forward, which is bad. Or the bar can rock sideways. That means your shoulders are not firing properly. So make sure when you bench press that this mistake does not happen to you. Now, one of the things that I like to explain about the bench is that the bench can be utilized in 2 different ways. You could be doing it just to build power and strength, or you could be doing it to actually really impact your chest development. Now, most people think that the technique is the same for both. It isn't, because when the tricep is overly explosive, it allows the chest to not be as interactive as it should be. So a lot of times, yes, you want to power the bar up, but not at the expense of losing the chest's engagement in the exercise. So once you stabilize the bar and the bar is moving in the right cadence and you have the proper range of motion, because a lot of times that's another issue. People don't bring the bar all the way down. In order to allow the pecs to be interactive, you must have a full range of motion. The bar must come all the way down to the chest, make contact, and then fully extend. That's when the chest has maximum interaction, as my son will demonstrate. It focuses on bar stability, range of motion, the breath, and consistency. Moving the bar the same way every single rep while stabilizing. Same rhythm, same tempo, not overly explosive, engaging all the proper muscles. So as the weight progressively gets heavier or the reps get higher and the difficulty level increases, you're going to develop more engagement with the chest. So obviously a plate is quite light, so I'm going to allow my son to do a demonstration a little bit heavier, just so you can see that the technique remains consistent regardless of how heavy the weight is. Other piece of information I'd like to add to bar stability is when you lay down on the bench, you want to make sure that your shoulders are down. When you're lowering the bar, you want your elbows coming in closer to the body. You don't want them out like you're doing a side lateral raise, and at the same time, you must Velcro your body down on that bench. That means no arching, no lifting the hips excessively high. Make sure your legs are in a comfortable position and they're both even. Once your lower body is anchored and your upper body is centered on the bench and your shoulders are in the right position, now as you unrack the bar, you lock in, you stabilize. Now look at the control. Once again, I'd just like to add, it's never weight before form. Form always comes first. Focus on your breath, focus on bar stability, focus on placement, focus on rhythm, and be consistent. Proper breathing is very essential when it comes to the bench press or any exercise for that matter, because as soon as you hold your breath, your body will shut down. You'll get lightheaded, you'll get dizzy, and you lose strength. So always understand the cadence of your breathing. As you bring in the bar down, you inhale down. As you push the bar up, you exhale out. Always regulate the breath. Do not leave the breath out of the movement. One of the things that I'd like to mention also about the bench press, this is a very ego-driven exercise. Most people want to bench, 200, 300, 400, 500 pounds, crazy numbers. But understand, it's not everybody that's capable of getting that strong. You should never put your ego in the front line of your body. Stay within the means of what your body can do comfortably. Anytime you're benching heavy, you should always have a spotter behind you for safety reasons. That way you don't hurt yourself. And at the same time, understand, your form should never be compromised on the bench. Regardless of how heavy the bar gets, you should always execute in perfect form. That's what protects your body from injury. Once you start to overload the bar and your shoulders and your triceps cannot support the weight, now you're at risk of injury, and one nasty injury on the bench, you could need surgery and your benching days are over. So you're gonna notice is now that we moved up to 225, which is 2 plates, that's what we call it, you're gonna see that my son's form is going to remain consistent as it was when he was doing a plate. So this is the objective, this is the goal. Focus on the breath. Move the bar through a full range of motion. Stay consistent. 3. Every rep the same. 4. 5. Complete muscle engagement. 6. 7. Nice and slow and controlled. Excellent. As you notice, no change at all in the technique. This is everyone's goal when you bench press. So the tips that I'm going to give you in addition to everything that you heard so far is that when you're benching, again, focus on all those details. Focus on your breathing. Focus on bar stability. Make sure you start with a weight that you can handle for 8 to 10 reps comfortably. Evaluate your form. Make sure you're moving the bar consistently from start to finish. And when you increase your weight, be smart about it, especially to beginners. When you increase in the weight, depending on how strong you are, maybe some of you can work up to benching a plate. Maybe some of you, when you start, a plate is too heavy. You're only benching quarters. I don't know, but be smart. Make your progression slow. Keep the reps around 8 to 10. Allow yourself to acclimate to the movement, to the technique, to the principles until they become so instinctive, it's second nature to you. And at that point, once you get to 10 reps and it becomes much more easily done, where you can do 12 or 15, now you can go up 20 pounds and then see how many reps you get there. Rule of thumb, for every 20 pounds you go up, you lose 2 reps. So that means if you're benching 135 and you go to 155, if you get 135 for 10, you'd get 155 for 8. If you're getting 135 for 12, you should get 155 for 10. Now that's barring that you make no mistakes in your technique and that you remain focused. But for the most part, the rule is every 20 pounds you go up, you lose 2 reps. So be safe, be focused, get gains, work hard, get it done, and most importantly, handle your business. Mr. Natural, out!